Hey guys, I'm Andrew McComb and welcome to Web3 TV. In today's video, I'm with Shea Richburg, the founder and COO of the FutureWise Group, and we're going to discuss the future of identity and privacy in the metaverse and why it's so important to the whole of humanity. But before we do, make sure you register to watch every episode of Web3 TV here, where we share inspiring stories of all things Web3, making a difference to the world. All sorted? Okay, let's go and meet Shea. All right, guys, as we promised earlier in the intro, this episode of Web3 TV, we're going to go into more detail around what your personal identity and privacy looks like in the metaverse and how to protect yourself. So, Shea, the first question is, what is your identity in the metaverse?
Well, I think the most simplistic answer is it's your digital wallet, honestly. Your digital wallet is your new physical documentations in the metaverse. But aside from that, it's also your avatars, honestly. We have avatars that are all over the place, you know. We have people focusing on you being a whale if you want to, Andrew, or if you want to look something somewhat like yourself. But I know so many people who choose not to look like themselves. So these awesome avatars are our identity as of now. And again, though, these digital wallets, ladies and gentlemen, are our identity.
And guys, if you missed our previous interview, I'll put a link to it here. It was all about understanding the metaverse. We had some classic examples of avatars and the hijinks they get up to in the metaverse and why it's important to have this your identity sorted and obviously privacy. So is there such a thing as privacy in the digital world?
I don't believe so because honestly, I don't think we have much privacy on the internet. So what can we expect in this digital fully immersed world, right? We have people tracking us all the time, and I think that's going to be an issue once we get into this metaverse, being tracked and collecting data and not being transparent. So I would hope there would be some type of privacy, but honestly, I don't think there will be a full scale level of privacy in this digital world.
Kind of scary, isn't it? And obviously with AI being a large component of the metaverse, what are the ramifications there on privacy and identity with AI?
Oh, there are a lot of ramifications. I mean, we have stolen identity. That's number one. We have people who are really stressed out about stalking issues, actually, when you implement AI and knowing a bit too much about for user to user, I mean, interaction, information about one another. Lots of ramifications of people getting data from one another and not understanding what they're going to do with it. For example, let me tell you, there's a company out there that is able to track a lot of data through your eye movements, and they know information about you before you even do things. Okay. And then they like to market to you because they see what you are attracted to, what you've looked at. And it's really scary, people collecting information about you before you even know about yourself. So it's out there. Privacy is really being compromised.
So what are your recommendations on ensuring you do have some privacy and some security? Close your eyes maybe?
Well, there's a lot we can do, and I've written some down because there's a lot. I'm passionate about this. We need privacy policies that are clear and easy for everyone to understand, not overly wordy and tricky to people. We also need to know what rights we have in this Web3 world, that we're getting involved in. We need to know what rights we have. And again, people need to be transparent about this data that they're collecting from us and what they're using the data for, and is there an option to opt out of people collecting this data? I think there really needs to be a lot of options provided to people involved in these spaces. I think there needs to be laws and regulations, and it needs to be communicated to people. It needs to be, open. It shouldn't be something secretive. And I think it needs to be some type of identity transparency, because as much if we were in the metaverse right now, Andrew, and then you look like let's say you look like an amazing, I don't know, dolphin, if you wanted to look like in the metaverse, I need some place, some picture of you, some way to actually be able to see you and see your identity. And lastly, we really need to keep minors safe in there, right? We want to make sure where there are kids only zones in the metaverse, we don't have adults secretly engaging with our children, right? So it's really about transparency. It's about opting out of certain things, and it's about knowing the laws, and really conducting ourselves in there too. All of that, I think, would really help tremendously.
Yeah, it's going to be a fine line, isn't it, with these avatars? Because you're not really going to know who you're dealing with, eh? It's kind of like the dark web meets the metaverse. And I don't want it to sound scary or threatening, but it has that potential, doesn't it? Obviously, bullying is a big potential in there as well. How are we going to overcome that?
Okay, so when we hear this bullying, right, we always assume this is with children and not adults. But I have to tell you, I had a spectacular guest on my podcast, Metaverse-ology. And there was a gentleman, and he said, Shay, I'm in my 50s and I was in some type of virtual lounge environment. And somebody just came up to me and just ripped me verbally, just outlash. And it was totally unprovoked. And he said, I didn't even know what to do. I was stunned. He said, I couldn't hit the exit button fast enough. And so we are having these issues. People are saying things explicitly in there. And this is what's going on with our children, with the babies. And we don't want this. We don't want this for adults or our children. So we really need to set some parameters and some new behavioral frameworks as to how we conduct ourselves in there.
Well, I guess it's also going to lead to needing some new soft skills, isn't it, to deal with some of that, how to deal with the bullying, how to deal with the not sure if that's the person you think that is. Like communication will be an amazing one that it'll hopefully enhance. But what are those soft skills that you see are going to be needed?
Well, my business partner and I have been working on something called the MIQ, which I'm so proud of. We've been researching and really trying to implement this on different platforms. The MIQ stands for Metaverse Intelligence Quotient. And this is something that I think we all need to conduct ourselves with in the metaverse. And it's based off of, I'm not going to go too much into it, it's based off of 4 pillars. So it's based off of awareness, inclusiveness, empathy, and respect. And if we can all share all of those, I think our experiences in the metaverse will be just so much heightened into positivity. And I don't know if we can honestly stop bullying because we have bullying, right, in the real world. But if we have this new framework and starting with the children, right, really talking to them about this new framework on how they interact with one another, I think we'll see a lot less of that. So this new MIQ is something that's so important. And in the real world, I have to say, soft skills are like going out the door, kaput. I mean, I have to pay kids sometimes to say, excuse me, thank you. Not my kids, but some kids out there, and I'm just telling it like we're all thinking, right? And this is something we can't continue over into the metaverse because it can get really bad over there. So these soft skills are really needed. And I want to add to in the metaverse, let's talk about body language. That's another skill that's going to be really important amongst kids and everybody. We don't talk enough about body language, but that's going to be something extremely important in the metaverse that we need to look into and everybody being more aware of.
Yeah, and it's avatar body awareness too, isn't it? Body language, and it's just fascinating what the potential is, and obviously the challenges that it may evolve as well. With your research too, Shay, what are some of the insights that you're getting on the future of the digital world and the role of Web3 in shaping that?
Well, overall, I think the developing of Web3, it seems like it is trying to be developed in a positive manner. I can tell you, I've talked to so many people, and everybody says that the end goal is to bring everyone together in humanity through Web 3.0 and this development of it. It's to connect us. It's to relate to people who aren't from our same areas, who don't have the same accents as one another, but we can be together in, the workroom together. We can learn together, right? We can all go to the same colleges together. So it's really bringing people together. I spoke to an artist and she created something called the Mars House. And she said something that really stuck with me. She said she created that as a place full of zen and peace and positive energy. And so the metaverse, people need to look at it as it can be a place to escape to something more positive. We don't want to bring our stressors from the real world into this new space. So a lot of people have been creating in hopes of bringing people together, sharing creativity, and really getting along better there than in the real world, honestly. So that's what I've been hearing has been going on. Even the governments want to bring their residents together in a more positive manner in the metaverse.
Very good. And so how can individuals best protect their privacy and safety when using, say, AR and VR goggles in the metaverse or technologies and AI technologies as well? And then what steps should they take to stay informed and be aware of the potential risks?
It's really hard as of today, Andrew. I mean, honestly, you want to protect your digital wallet. You want to protect the platforms or servers you're on, but nothing is sure proof. When we deal with technology, I mean, everybody has to come to reckoning that nothing is 100% sure proof. You really have to understand how you engage and interact with people in these new spaces. If you feel as though something is a little shady or something's off with somebody you're engaging with, you really have to be more aware. It's about more experiential awareness, in this world, in this environment. It can get really out of control, and I don't want to see that. But as far as the privacy, make sure you don't tell too much information or details about yourself, right? And this is even to where you live. Okay. I'm going to be honest. You don't want to share too much information when you're in that environment because it can have effects on you in the real world. And I mean, I have a lot to say about that, but please make sure you don't say too much. Be reserved on the information you're sharing, really get to know people and be cordial with one another. Treat others how you want to be treated because it can really come back and bite you in that environment.
It's easier said than done, isn't it? Because obviously being so immersive and long-term, it's going to feel like the real world. It's very quickly you're going to get forget you're even in the make-believe world, and you're just going to let your guard down, I guess. So what steps can the companies and the policymakers take to ensure that these technologies are developed and used in a way that's safe, responsible, and respects individuals' rights and freedoms?
I mean, I think we need platforms that will be open to everyone. Again, things need to be as transparent. So a virtual environment, their policies need to be transparent. So an example of this, I know Facebook, their avatar was physically harassed by another person. So now they have parameters you can put up so no one can touch your avatar in the metaverse. And I know that might, be a little crazy to some people, but it isn't. When you feel as though you're attacked, in a virtual environment, again, it goes back to the mental shock and experience that you're having and how it really does have big implications on people, especially the children. So we have that. We have Facebook working on that. We have a lot of people, they have, again, these digital humans who are watching to see how people are interacting. And so, they're ready to run up on you if you do something that violates people. And I think that's fine. But people need to know, what are the policies? They need to know, what are these social norms, how you should be conducting yourselves, right? So it's really about being transparent as possible. And the whole data collecting, I mean, that really needs to be transparent. Why you're collecting data, how, what manner, and why. What are you using it for? So as long as they really work on that, I think you'll have a lot more people flourishing to these different platforms too and being safer.
Yeah. Yeah, because on paper and listening to some of the things you're saying, it's like for a lot of people it's too hard basket, right? So again, on a bigger level, what do you see in relation to government and industry? What are they doing, playing in the regulation and development and use of these technologies? And what policies or frameworks might be necessary to ensure that they're used in a way that is safe and responsible? And again, I know we're probably repeating the same thing, but in a different way and maybe at a different layer. But what are governments thinking about this? Is it too hard for them at the moment?
No, it's really important that you actually brought that up because I know certain governments are creating like digital responsible councils. They actually have councils working on this, literally. I know one particular government is actually focused on people being in safe, enjoyable environments, being able to enhance their prosperity while they're in these virtual spaces, and to really be able to really express themselves freely as they're in these virtual spaces. And so they are really creating these councils and thinking of these different situations and their underlying goals. They're setting goals and then trying to create policies to enable those goals for everybody, in their different metaverses. So that's what I know they're currently doing, but it's going to take time. I mean, they're really not moving fast enough. And sometimes we live in a world, Andrew, where something has to happen and then you get the laws and then you get the policies. And I never stand by that model, but there's so many laws that are created out of that. But I don't want that for the metaverse. I want us to think about circumstances and what we can do so we won't get to that level.
Yeah, people need to experience the pain before they make the change, don't they? It's like the heart attack before they eat more healthily or whatever. It's just fascinating when I talk to you, Shea, around the amount of stakeholders that are involved in this, that need to be involved in this, but they literally have to take a step right back to the start with a clean sheet of paper and create it from scratch. But also, are they all committed to it, or do they believe it's actually possible? And then what even makes them want to do it? Like, it could just be too hard basket, right?
I mean, it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. You have certain people, people with power who are committed to this. And if they're committed to this, it's going to happen. I know actually just recently, Klaus Schwab, I actually saw a video and he was saying that he would like their meetings that he's involved in to be actually in the metaverse in the near future. So people don't have to, journey, in different places to meet together. It'll actually be a lot easier for certain meetings. So that development's going to happen. And particularly, I remember he said he really likes how China is handling their different models. And so I just want to share the story. Are you familiar with the social credit system that they have
in China? Yeah. Well,
okay.
not in great detail, but yeah, it's kind of scary, right?
It is scary. And I tell people, when I talk about safety in the metaverse and using, these soft skills and working along with people, I don't want to see people abusing, our connectedness in the metaverse. And then one day we look up and we have this social credit in the metaverse, because I can very much see this happening. And if those aren't familiar with what that is, it's basically you getting rewards or punishment based off of your trustworthiness and you being a good citizen. And so we are at the forefront where possibly this new technology is going to dictate our new social norms in the real world and in this metaverse. And so I can't really stress enough, we need to get this right. Okay. I mean, we do have powerful world leaders who are looking at these type of models, and it may extend, across borders where, people are getting rewarded by donating blood or donating money. Or if you don't go visit your parents enough, you can't stay at a certain hotel, or you don't qualify for a certain level job, because you don't have enough points. And so I can slowly see this happening, but I don't want to see that trajectory happening. And if that works for certain people, kudos to them. I'm not talking badly about it, because if it works for some, that's fine. But I don't want to see that forced amongst the masses. That's all I'm saying. I want Web 3.0 to be, again, a place of freedom, happiness. And so if we don't get these policies and this openness together, I can see this happening. I can see our real world norms changing because of what we do in the metaverse. It's going to trickle over into the real world too, or vice versa. What we do in the real world is going to trickle into there. And it's going to be big repercussions, Andrew. And I don't want that to happen. So.
Yeah, I can totally see that. So we're all setting out with good intent as Web3 idealists around freedom, borderless, trustless, transparency, etc. But very quickly, just a mention of Klaus Schwab, right, and the World Economic Forum and some of their vision. They want to be looking at controlling everyone. So if it gets in the wrong hands, there's definitely a lot of danger, isn't there, with the metaverse? And obviously, metaverse or not. You know, they've already got their hands on things anyway. So it would be a shame for what started out with the right reasons that it actually had major detriment. So if just the final question for today, Shea, in relation to the future, I guess, of the metaverse, say in the next 5 to 10 years, tell me your idealistic version of it. And I know we've discussed it in other videos, but give the viewers, if it's their first time seeing you in this video, what would it be for you?
Okay, so idealistically, the metaverse is that alternative environment that enhance your day-to-day life. It is the environment where you will go connect with coworkers. It's the environment with your children will be meeting with their classmates from all over. It will be the new leading place for medical students because, you know, they're cutting open the cadavers literally as we speak. I know a school that's doing this where they are cutting cadavers in the metaverse before they actually do it in the real world. So they have a certain level of mental preparedness. It's a place where we're going to buy our cars. You know, you can do this today. It's just a place where we have extensive positive experiences. It's a place that we log into to talk with people that aren't right in front of us. It's a place to learn and to show respect, you know, from people from all over the world, honestly. It's a place where we'll see it very much built and it's going to connect with our real life. As I said before, we're going to be able to order our food in there and it's going to be delivered here. I mean, I think it might get to the point, you know, we might have some doctor's visits in there. Honestly, we're going to talk to our doctors and lawyers, and you know, companies are going to have these avatars as their front desk help. You know, we're going to be logging into there, honestly, you know, in the ins and outs of our lives. But the key is to remain balanced in our lives. Okay, we cannot let technology take over our lives. We control technology. We cannot let technology control us. Okay, I'm a human. I love humans and I want to see us thrive. I want to see us working together. And we need to do that by showing compassion, respect to one another, you know, being transparent to one another as we're in this new world. And I believe that we can do it. We're capable of doing it. And I think in the future, we will be able to achieve all of that.
Beautiful summary, Shea. Guys, if you haven't heard Shea's journey into the metaverse and how she even got into it in the first place, I'm going to put a link up here for you. Amazing story of, I guess, the deeper reason behind it. And we can hear that with Shea's passion. There's more to it than just being about the metaverse and the technology. It's deeper values that Shea holds around fairness, family, inclusion, etc., etc. So definitely it's a must watch. If you'd like to comment on this video or you've got any questions for Shea, remember you can leave them in the comments. Shea's one of our metaverse masters, so she'll be around for a long time, I'm sure. She'll be happy to answer them for you. Shea, really appreciate all of your insight, all of your support with all of the videos, and look forward for a very bright future with you in and out of the metaverse.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I love what you're doing. This is a wonderful show. And those listening, you're at the right place. This is the place to learn about Web 3.0. No mistakes that you heard this in all the other interviews. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Well, there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Web3 TV episode. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And remember, if you'd like to watch every episode of Web3 TV, visit the link below or subscribe to our channel. And remember to hit the bell icon so that we can notify you every time a new episode is released. I'm Andrew McComb, and I look forward to sharing more inspiring Web3 TV episodes making a difference to the world. I'll see you soon.